All right.
Do we track pistol uptime? Is that really?
Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah, it's like Inspire.
Like, what
basically
does
the
that
same
even
thing.
mean?
It's like the opposite. Inspire uptime is healing, pistol uptime is just damage.
Yeah.
It's not AoE though, it's single target.
Right.
Effect
It's
power.
just-
Look, it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
It's actually vastly different, but yeah, we tracked that surely, right, guys? Anyway, Matt, you've touched a nerve on Johnny, but there's no doubt about it. Profit is the kind of player that always turns up in the big name games. Like playoff Profit is a thing for a reason. Now, look, the entire desk feeling pretty good about the Atlanta Reign, and so they should. They come out of Countdown Cup qualifiers 4-0 with a brutal strength of schedule. It's been the story for this team all the way through. In the West, they are getting consistently some of the hardest matchups. But their opponents, the Seoul Dynasty, are capital D dangerous, and ask any Philadelphia fan who is currently cradling their memories of 2018 finals. They know what it's like to go up against this particular team, Matt. And as we sort of talked about, and as as the desk sort of explained, this is another slow team that likes to go for the bunker style. But we've seen them as well play Tracer Sombra with the Wrecking Ball and even the even the Zarya in the mix. So a few different looks possible from this team. I think they're going to win this game.
Their strength is in the DPS line, right? Bits and Profit are both absolutely sick players. If they go up against like a duo, though, that's not going to kind of like shut them down, or a team that can be pretty effective, it's kind of like I feel like their roster kind of lacks in some other spots where other teams like excel at. Maybe it's just because they haven't had really the shine that some other teams like Atlanta Reign have had this year. Gator and Hawk have played really good in terms of a tank duo. And they mentioned earlier, Edison may be playing. Pelican will actually play. So he's actually in Atlanta, not traveling with the team, obviously, because of his injury. But you'll get to see Pelican here at the start, which I think is quite interesting. He's such a dynamic player and such a good player. You almost feel compelled to put him in. So we'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether, Pelican is just being assigned, one or two maps, and maybe Edison comes in. Either way, Matt, I think what's so, remarkable about this situation, not only the proximity, of course, to Pelican's injury, but the fact that he's probably the kind of guy, and we've seen many players with, reasonable ping still dominate. I want to think Fielder, I guess, on the Paris Eternal, right? It's not too bad. I'd love to know exactly what kind of ping that Pelican's playing on, but you see how important he is to this Atlanta roster. That he comes out the bloody hospital on a gurney and they stick a bloody mouse and keyboard in his head and point him at a screen. The Atlanta Reign really want to come away from this trip to Hawaii with a league point at the very least, but I mean, they're looking straight at the top, Matthew. A tough matchup for them here in the Seoul Dynasty, who has handled everybody but the Dragons pretty well, through the Countdown Cup in their home region. We can expect to see some similar styles come out, and our desk really hinted that they feel that the more aggressive style of the Atlanta Reign within the shell of a bunker composition will prevail.
And like it's kind of been talked about as well with both of these teams. We really kind of look at Atlanta and the Gladiators, right? Whoever finishes higher has a really good shot, I believe, at not having to play in the play-ins for playoffs, right? Seoul Dynasty and Chengdu, they're in the same spot around those teams as well in their regions. So a lot on the line for these teams. I think, especially like if for the next match, right? You see the results of this one, it adds even more pressure in situations.
For the first time since June 2019, out of the gates, come the Atlanta Reign and the Seoul Dynasty. Head-to-head, I'm sure they've looked at each other plenty across the ocean, but now it's time to cross swords, Matthew. Busan is up first.
So Atlanta with the Torbjorn are playing a very anti-dive composition, but Seoul Dynasty does not want to play that here. They're going to play the 76 and the Hangzhou, just kind of poke the shields at range, which this comp is pretty good against the Tor, but they pressure down Gesture on the point. He's basically there alone, just him and Tuyu. Nobody else drops to the point, and they're not able to keep the tanks up.
Yeah, Seoul, the rest of them are a little uncertain about, I guess, to what degree they want to commit to the point or even leave that safe perch, and it actually ends up coming back to bite them.
You don't have, the break here, so you can't really brawl like that. So, you're relying on the Immortality field to come in to save you? If that's not in time, you're going to lose a player like Gesture, and you're also going to lose the mech, which they did there. You're going to have that reset. Just make it aggressive behind this Amp Matrix.
that's that aggression that the Reign are kind of becoming known for here. Even with a less mobile composition, they take the fight to the Seoul Dynasty. They're played forward here with that Amp Matrix, and Hawk is just reliable in his corner. Look at the pressure now going down to Anamo. He has to back away and use the Immortality Field for himself. This is not a good start for the Dynasty.
And how do you let Hawk? He is the only player in that vicinity.
No shot.
Walks up and gets a DMAC, and then just walks away.
I mean, he also gets profit, Matt. Far from done. I mean, the Seoul Dynasty aren't ready. They weren't expecting maybe such a high pace from the Atlanta Reign, but look at all the space that Gator and Co are taking. They're not letting Seoul use that high ground, that safe, I use, waggle hands, safe area at all.
I mean, now you're going to have the supercharger and get aggressive here behind this. Is nobody even close to, they're getting spawn killed at this point.
He was D-mech'd. A 2U spent most of the round outside of his mech so far, Matthew. D-suited for a second time, and just as he gets back to spawn, he's killed.
And you already have another Amp Matrix here for the Atlanta Reign. Amp Matrix, Tac Visor, will be a bomb that goes in. That's going to force the Transcendence out. And, thankfully, you're going to have a nice haul to the Dragon.
Now, perhaps they're not ready for Fitz's Dragon to come through there. The Atlanta Reign looked like they'd committed until Creative just zips around the corner with that Transcendence. A lot spent there, in fairness. Both of those DPS ultimates leveraged to put Seoul in a position to start accruing some capture percentage, but it's 5-94.
Oh, so you're going to have Gator now play the ball as Pelican's going to go over to Tracer. So this could be a pretty good composition against what the Seoul Dynasty are running. You have the 76 and the Hangzhou pretty static targets. So they may not be expecting this. That's going to be the supercharger here from Gesture. Yeah, you can't kite this damage. Seoul Dynasty going to push on through.
Yeah, the hold there was what really yields that first crucial kill. And it was Kai falling outside of that. The Atlanta Reign are done. Oh, well, what's your thinking on why they choose to switch to the ball now? Is this because it's less comfortable to play, out of control of the point with the Orisa?
A little bit, and how would you play kind of a retake with the Torbjorn? You could maybe try and have Pelican play Hanzo or something along those lines, but you're gonna have Gator go back to the point and get a touch. This is gonna force everybody trying to retreat here for Seoul Dynasty. It may cause them to split.
Fitz still trying to keep tabs on the rest of the Reign, though, as they try and link up here with Gator. The point hasn't been captured quite yet, so Seoul are still gaining percentage, and here's the amplification matrix. Fitz is going to be knocked out of the way there by Gator, making it hard for him to get value out of that ultimate, but Creative takes Kai down across the map. Looks like Kai's not the only one been on Kovacs lately. Nice connection there, and that keeps Seoul in charge at 72 and counting.
Yeah, as they're making a big comeback here. Is Kai now on the Widow? See if he actually continues with this, but...
Is that for profit?
Well,
I guess for Hanzo as well.
Yeah, I think at this point as well, you're thinking if you get one pick, you can pretty much win the round, right, at 94. They're going to have to get a touchdown. Seoul has so many ults.
Seoul looking comfortable now. They have control of the point. 97 and counting now as Prophet has the tactical visor, but he doesn't want to push out so much. He just gets caught there by Kai. He had nowhere to go. The Widowmaker with too much control of that space. Pelican drops the Pulse Bomb in there, but Anamo is unaffected. He'll benefit from the Transcendence of Creative for the time being. Now the Reign still don't have control of the point quite yet. Self-destruct, but Creative strikes again. He finds Kai for a second time. Now the Dynasty are in a player advantage scenario. Prophet comes back out, removes Pelican. The Discord Orb expertly applied there by Creative. Hawk tries to even the ledger somewhat, and Anamo is down. It's only the Zenyatta healing for the time being, but this Dragon might compound the issue for the Atlanta Reign. All the Divas are desuited here. Creative has all the space to work with, and Seoul sneak away with that first round.
Yes, once the Atlanta Reign moved off of the slower composition, Seoul Dynasty, and got the point, Seoul Dynasty was able to hold on and really put together a string of great fights. There towards the end, like you mentioned, where Prophet couldn't move out, and Gesture actually gets killed right off the bat. That's because Gator drops a minefield right at the, pretty much staircase and blocks, any damage going through the Amp Matrix. Prophet can't really get any good line of sight, forces Gesture down onto the point, and then he gets taken out with a headshot.
Here's Creative after that Transcendence that kept Animo alive. Immediately switches into high gear. Uncanny ability just to pick Kai up across the map, and that really loosened things up for Seoul. Matt, here as we Headed to downtown. It looks like it's going to be the far off for Pelican. Very different looks for the Dynasty. This is the McCree May comp that we sometimes see on Mecha base from this team as well.
Yeah, see, Seoul probably wants to try and play out in this open space for a little bit, allow Fitz
there it is.
to get some shots on the Pelican. He takes it out straight away.
Nasty McCree. Fitz is still low. Gator's going to be able to run him down up close. Trade it out though. Master on the Mercy here, just has to try and put Pelican in a position to set up for some kills.
Thanks for the assist.
It's not the start that the Atlanta Reign were hoping for.
No, I mean, you lose Pelican, it's such a difficult way to win that fight because he's such a large source of the damage. I know being able to just poke players down from afar, get players weak, kind of really disrupt everything that Seoul wants to do with like a strong bunker. As a halt there, it's going to force the Immortality Field out early, so they had to use the Immortality Field there on Fitz.
Could be a problem for the front line of the Dynasty now, so they go for the Amplification Matrix and make sure that healing is going to be there. The Dynasty playing two separate angles here. Gesture on the close left there. You can see 2U on the right. Here's an Amp Matrix and a Dragon Strike to come through. Gesture couldn't get away from it in time, and Iris finishes the job. Pelican being a little careful now, hoping to get some extra damage on the Brigitte, and he does. Able to run Anamo down. Fitz has plenty of space to work with, but he's going to have to keep giving up more and more now as his team's at a distinct player disadvantage.
Well, and Atlanta hasn't really made their way to the point yet. As you see, they take out Creative here, but you still have Fitz alive, and they never dealt with who you goes on such a long flank.
This guy is absolutely insane. There's a reason why he's considered one of the best McCrees in the world right now. That's 3 kills for him in this fight. He's already #1 for final blows on McCree entering this week. Absolute nasty stuff. And the Reign let him hang around for too long.
And now you've committed to this if you're the Atlanta Reign. You have a self-destruct, you have a supercharger, a rocket barrage. I mean, you have so many ultimates that at this point in the game you've committed to this composition that if it doesn't work here, you're kind of out of luck here in map #1.
Supercharger comes down. Gator wants to try and force his way through the front door, but Pelican needs to be careful. 2U makes a flyby. He has to know that Pelican is holding onto this barrage. It's a matter of managing that defense matrix as well as he can. Pelican's forced to back away, even with the healing of Masa is so low. Masa needs to be elsewhere right now, though, because there's a fight happening in the choke. Prophet has Blizzard, Matt.
Masa needs to be the one that can test the point. That's how far away this team is pushed out. Talk will get on and touch. They are so split. It's a really well played from Seoul here.
Blizzard comes down here, but it's not likely Prophet finds anything more from that. Anamo realizes, wait a minute, this fight, yeah, it's probably over. Pelican never end up using the barrage there, didn't have a good opportunity, but it's Kai that actually sets up that fight with a crucial first pick and follows it up with 2 more.
It was really well played at the choke from Seoul for a very long time. Atlanta finally able to flip the point, but I mean, you see kind of the desperation they needed to go to. Masa pops Valkyrie, backs his way up onto the point to touch. Hawk has to go in. Players kind of separated everywhere. So now it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum where Seoul now is trying to use their composition with the ball to break this Arisa setup. And Atlanta was not able to break Seoul's, although some compositional differences. See if Seoul can put together a good push to try and break this Atlanta setup.
Iris, normally Nerves of Steel, forced apart with that amplification matrix there. Thought he had a decent chance at a fight, but the Dynasty are playing a little bit more fast and loose now with the Wrecking Ball look. Creative on the Ana as well. Oh, Pelican able to find Fitz there with some splash damage. Of course, no mercy there for Dynasty, so they're going to have to back away and go again. Looks like, Matthew, once these two teams control the point, it's so hard to unseat either of them.
I mean, Prophet keeps like dipping in to touch the point, but he has to be so careful. I mean, he's gotten low a few times. You have a nano boost here. I mean, what do? Do you nano Fitz? Do you nano Prophet? I mean, you don't have a great target here if you're Seoul.
Creative here playing alongside Anamo. 70% on the clock for the Atlanta Reign now. Supercharger thrown down, it's expired. Fitz playing awfully close here. He's looking for Masa. Kill on the Mercy. He knows could end this fight already, but the Dragon Strike will give him pause for thought. Again, playing it off angle. He sees Kai. He gets him. That's the Hangzhou down, and now he can play for the high ground with the Deadeye. A huge hit there on Masa takes him low, and he finishes the job there. The Deadeye connects. Self-destruct doesn't really affect anybody, and the Dynasty have finally managed to pick their way through the Atlanta Reign. And now we've got overtime. Pelican not in a position to touch it all, and that's a first map going to the Dynasty.
A really good look from Seoul there in map #1. They're able to break that composition from the Atlanta Rain at the end. Really with the Wrecking Ball Tracer putting pressure on the point, but the nano boost on the Fitz as he was just clicking on heads, allowed them to get onto the point and take that map number 1, which I think probably surprises a decent amount of people with how Atlanta's looked.
Yeah, not me, like I said before. But, I mean, look, you're dealing with the Dynasty getting to put their players in power positions, right? Fitz is #1 hero damage, eliminations, final blows, and least deaths on McCree. Like, the guy is scary. Once the Dynasty get to play their game, they look really good, and they can switch to the ball and retake. A good start here for our second-seeded team from the east, and the Atlanta Rain look to answer back on the other side of this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
That's right, the Overwatch League skins from yesteryear have returned. Now is your chance to get one of your favorite previous legendary skins. The vault is open through August 24th, and skins can be redeemed for 200 League tokens, which of course can be earned by linking your account on YouTube. Look below the video player. If it says connected, then you're Gucci. If not, well, sort yourself out, mate. 11 through 24, so only 5 more days to get your hands on skins such as the Zenakji, which is one of my favorites.
I'm happy they brought the skins back. I'm not happy we just watched Johnny drool for 25 seconds pretending to be underwater. I mean, could you imagine if like either of their significant others just walked in and they're just standing there in front of a green screen with a scuba, scuba mask on, just flailing like that? I mean, I also Johnny may not know how to swim. If that's how he, that's how his swimming motions. I mean,
I heard actually he used to dive into the frozen fjords and grab the fish with his bare hands. So I reckon he's got a style. Yeah, maybe just not what we're used to seeing. Yeah, obviously, look, that's not even the most ridiculous thing I've seen filmed, by the way, this week for Watchpoint. So keep an eye on that show coming up. I'm telling you. Oh yeah. Okay, first map. Going in favor of the Seoul Dynasty here, Matthew. It seems like once they can really get positioned with this bunker setup, they've got some approaches that maybe the Rain aren't aware of or wouldn't try themselves, and they play a frustrating sort of off-angle setup here with the D.Va. It's really effective against the Atlanta Rain, who can't get through the choke on Busan. Hanamura, also a map, Matthew, features a few chokes here. Expect both these teams to try and make full use of them.
Yeah, and I actually like this map pick from the Atlanta Rain. You have to play pretty aggressive on Hanamura. Like, the chokes are extremely punishing, right? So if Seoul wants to play that aggressive style, do you try and like force them onto the ball, which you feel like is not their best look? Do they try and play the Orisa? But their Orisa that they were playing was very like poke oriented, just damage over time at range, Soldier, Hanzo, Cowboy in there. So we'll see what they decide to do here on offense. Potentially. Okay, so Gesture going to go over to the ball. This may be just a scout to get an idea. Going to get a Reinhardt. Okay. Ryan Sim.
Right, so I mean, if there's any situation in which Seoul think that they can get access to the Orisa without having to walk at her over a long distance with a Symmetra, for example, then yeah, play a brawl composition and get on the point. The Atlanta Rain positively moulding at this development, as this is kind of stuff you see in solo queue. But they have the point now. Just so low. A bit of miscommunication there. He charges out of an immortality field that was supposed to keep him alive. I can't blame him, because the Atlanta Rain came home looking very angry.
He would not have lived really much longer even after the immortality field. So the Symmetra teleporter gets broken up straight away. So only 3 players make it through. I believe it was like a Gesture, Prophet, and Creative. So there was no 2U for like a defense matrix over by the point. Everybody split up. Now we're going to have them go over to Winston. So a Winston dive comp with Sombra Tracer. See how this looks from Seoul.
I think their Sombra Tracer is one of their better looks. I don't think it's as good as their bunker setup, but Fitz is actually pretty ridiculous at getting hacks on the Orisa and being able to catch them out of position. Their Tracer Sombra was also really good against Winston comps. I think Mano found that out the hard way.
Looks like they're trying to farm up Nano here to get a Nano on a Gesture. I mean, he's just going to walk out taking so much damage.
Pelican, though, really, there's nothing here that answers him at all right now. He can do this all day long.
And I think this is also kind of playing into the map pick. This is what Atlanta wanted to force Seoul into. Play these, like, Winston or Wrecking Ball comps and beat us this way. You're playing the Winston and Sombra Tracer into the Pharah, the Batiste, the Torbjorn, just a lot of like big damage up close, and then also just sustain from the Atlanta Rain.
The Dynasty, though, no switches here. They've built up that nano boost, which means the Gesture will be more potent, but there's a lot of damage that the Atlanta Rain have there, Matthew. Gesture can still get blown up instantly. We'll see if that's the case. He dives in. He's taking rockets constantly, by the way, and he's just dead with a nano boost, by the way.
That is such a bizarre nano. Like, he gets the nano, walks in through his bubble. I don't know who he actually saw back there. Like, maybe it was
Iris,
but
yes,
jumps on him and didn't really catch it because we were going to him. But may have even like missed the jump, but didn't really do much of anything. So that's pretty brutal because what, you're playing around a nano, you're playing now around the EMP, trying to set up this dive.
Kai has a molten core and tears a strip off Prophet there. EMP connects on a gate. Pelican also hits, so he can't take to the skies right now. He'll float down slowly. Pulse Bomb connects there from Prophet, and he finds 2. Iris was the perfect candidate to receive it. And the Seoul Dynasty, Matt, it's the EMP, and I guess an unlikely scenario that allows them to bust through this bunker defense.
Yeah, the EMP is good, and the follow-up is great from Prophet, right? Landing that Pulse Bomb, being able to take out a few players. Changes now for both teams. I imagine we'll see a change from Seoul once they kind of have a go against this comp. They're playing against the Torb Torb Kree with the Reinhardt in the mix. It's going to be very difficult to kind of take this high ground away from the Gators.
Pelican switching out to the Torb here, so it's exchanged hands now as Kai gets to put his hot hand to work. Creator's going to get another nano boost here, but it's going to go over to Gesture, and he's able to get rid of Iris pretty comfortably there, but waiting in the wings, of course. What Gator and Gesture is. He actually gets out with a kill. It's quite astonishing there. Kai even tries to roll away back in towards his spawn. Not quite the landing the Dynasty were hoping to stick there, so going to have to try again.
Yeah, and Hawk chases down Creative underneath. So let's see if we have any changes coming in for Seoul Dynasty. So they'll go to the Genji here.
Sombra Genji double bubble. Look.
Yeah, Genji Sombra double bubble. So
well, they switched
gives
the
you
Zarya,
another.
So,
yeah. It just gives you another win condition. You know, Grav, EMP, Nano Blade, Nano Winston. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. I mean, the EMP may just be enough, right? I mean, the ultimate is so powerful that it might be enough.
So we know like the Uprising prefer to play the Genji against the Torb and not the Tracer, just because it's easier to work that down, but that's a pretty darn big EMP. Fitz gets in, and it's all 6 of them. And the Atlanta Reign get absolutely bowled over on this high ground. Gesture's Primal Rage there is going to keep Hawk mighty busy. He'll eventually be taken down now as the Dynasty move into high gear. They set up on the point. Profit builds 75% of a blade in that one fight, and Creative isn't too far away from a nano tier. It's about finishing the job for the Seoul Dynasty. They need to stick this landing, but they've lost Gesture. Tuyu is charged up though, ready to rumble, and Hawk's going to have to walk out and use all of that defense matrix pretty much straight away. The blade is about to be online for Profit, who'll get his nano. It's time to go to work. First target there, looks like it's Master, and he's removed immediately. Iris follows soon after, and the turret gets some extra attention from Profit now as Kai strikes and gets rid of the Ana. It looks like, though, the Dynasty still have the numbers to work this. Blowing up Pelican quickly will give them the point in the round.
Big round win there. Big completion from Seoul Dynasty. I would love to catch a replay of that because I thought that was it's such an interesting setup. So they knew Atlanta was going to play pretty aggressive up on the high ground, and Atlanta, looking at the composition straight up, like they do feel like they have the advantage fighting in that close quarter hallway. Fitz gets into a position where he definitely would have been detected because there's so many players in close vicinity for the Atlanta Reign.
How does he get all 6 there?
He actually is the recipient of the bubble from Tuyu. So he gets the bubble, and he can stand in the hallway at EMP with no, like they probably would have tried to break it up with whether a flash
stealthy,
or
really?
a stun. Yeah, and I wonder if the bubble came in, he used the EMP, and they actually were just going to kind of counter it, whether it be like a stun or something, and the bubble just negated that, because that's what allows it to hit everybody. I mean, the bubble is great from Tuyu there.
It's a variation we don't often see. I think a lot of teams kind of expect their Sombras just to, hit those EMPs and be fairly self-sufficient, right? It's actually really rare that we see resources invested in a Sombra to that degree at all. Like, that's the utility player. Yeah. Let's see how it goes down, Matt. Walk me through it.
So let's take a look at this. So you see he's detected. They know he's here, and he has the bubble when he pops that. I mean, that is one where, like, yeah, I mean, everybody on the team knew. I mean, Kai is playing McCree, standing next to him as he's detected. So
nothing could be done there. Love that little variation there from Tuyu. Some insane situational awareness, from this flex tank player. And so the Dynasty, they have 1:26 in the time bank with a finishing round. So not too shabby, but look at the Reign. They go with the Wrecking Ball. They go aggressive early, hoping to probably create a little bit of space here for Kai, who's Gesture a loving headshot, and Anamo just gets ripped to pieces by Pelican on ping, no less.
Tuyu's very low. He's going to be able to make it out with his light, but Fitz actually ends up in the choke here. Gets 2. The players just fighting all over the place. This still looks like Atlanta in the end will come out on top. But they have a player advantage. They're going to have the respawn advantage from being that close as well.
Pelican's able to desuit Tuyu from that range, so that should tell you just how low he was. He was hoping to stall the point a little bit there. He's got a reason as any to pick off the mini D.Va. But yeah, I mean, love that look from the Atlanta Reign. They're looking kind of multi-dimensional now, showing us a fast-paced Wrecking Ball setup, but a perfect execution on the attack leaves them with 5 minutes and 45 in the time bank.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're going to switch off of this. Like, they have a few players who aren't really close to ultimates, and they do. So, the Orisa with the Hangzhou and the Tracer versus what Seoul is running, they're actually just going to run the Torbjorn with it. Now we're going to play Hangzhou Mei with the Orisa. Okay, so really trying to play for that high ground control, trying to wall players off.
It's unclear, actually, how successful Prophet's May was on Busan Mechabase, because he gets the Blizzard off, but he's long dead, and they end up losing that fight. The Rain want to go to the main here. It's going to allow Prophet to throw up a wall, but is there any way to punish Hawk for being the only player caught on the wrong side of it? Doesn't look like it. Pelican's able to get in through the high ground, and Tuyu ends up getting desuited first, and that's with Hawk caught out on his own. Pelican, the Dragon Strike comes through, and that's going to catch Gesture, the Pulse Bomb. Not necessary, apparently. And the Atlanta Rain just had the killer instinct right now. Creative is not going to be left alone to heal his team on that high ground. Kai doubles back to deal with him. Matt, the Rain have numbers here on the point. They're looking very good.
And what was wrong with just continuing to play the Torbjorn? You know, the Mei, you try and use the wall to split players off. It's good to stall the point, but not really providing much of anything else. As you have Pelican, who is able to get behind the Seoul Dynasty. This just looks like an eventuality, as Prophet will get on Ice Block, you know, buy even more time, and Seoul's going to be kicking themselves, I feel like, after this round.
Absolutely. They just don't get anything from the Mei. As soon as anybody walks out of spawn, they're dead to Kai's damage. And the Atlanta Rain have everything they need here to make a cap. Yeah, it's been a little bit slow because of Gesture's stalling attempts, but at the end of the day, they come out with more than 2.5 minutes of extra time. That is a huge lead here on Hanamura.
A massive lead. I mean, that is one where Seoul pretty much gave it away on defense. I mean, they didn't play any defense, realistically. It was like 2 fights on each one, where Atlanta, as soon as they see the Mei, they move away from the high ground and just go main. They drop an Ant Matrix, the Mei wall comes out, Hawk is on the point, contesting, under real no scrutiny, right? Because, you know, the Hangzhou's not going down there to shoot him. The Hangzhou's got to deal with players, you know, peeking through the Ant Matrix. And then what is the Mei providing at that range, right? I mean, the Mei drops the point, like, you know, it uses a little bit of value of the wall. You can ice block, keep the point going, but still a little bit of an odd switch there from Seoul. They'll have an opportunity to make some changes here on offense before we kick off. But Atlanta, same defense, right? I know it worked for a period of time. Seoul had to adjust to it. With 1:26, they don't have a lot of time to adjust.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. They need to come out with something that really is the antithesis to this fire straight away. That Fire Strike, that gets Dragon Strike usually gets fired off in Gesture's direction. Kai loves getting his hands dirty in these scenarios. And look at this. Gets the comp from Hawk and follows up there. He's everywhere on that Hangzhou in the last fight. Huh.
Fitz play the Widow. Okay, so he'll stay on the Widow for a little bit. And it looks like potentially play it, as this is really just to be a threat to Pelican. You see it's kind of got Hawk locked up there on the high ground trying to use his Matrix.
Oh my! Fitz just destroys Master there off the grapple. And that's the Atlanta Rain. That's their res, that's their mercy out of the picture now. Of course Pelican wasn't far behind as Prophet gets the call to go in, and he absolutely does. Fitz a little bit aggressive there as Iris punishes him for going over the edge. Prophet's only 20 HP, so he has to go for a health pack here.
This is still winnable for Atlanta. They actually push all the way through the choke. They kill Creative. Masa's going to kill Prophet, as Prophet was pushing forward to try and get a spawn kill, and that's it. I mean, Atlanta's going to get back onto the point.
Right, I just feel like the Dynasty gets so far ahead of themselves there. It's a great pick from Fitz, and then Prophet follows up. They're at a 2-player advantage. But they don't respect what Iris can do, apparently. As Fitz just walks straight up through the window, gets taken down. Well, the Dynasty didn't have much time to work with anyway. Now it's down to 10 seconds. 2 ticks is all they got so far, but they're going to walk headlong into an amplification matrix if they want to advance at all.
And they do get 2 ticks, though, so that is good for the Seoul Dynasty, but they're going to lose their main tank right off the rip.
The Electric Cowboy rides again. The Immortality field there, going to stymie a little bit of that early play. Molten Core comes on in, he wants to keep his boots clean, so he steps on out, lines Master up, one more shot would have done the job, but Master's able to slink away at just the last moment, and Creative has already gone down to Pelican. The war of attrition, as usual, being won by the Atlanta Reign here. Prophet has to do something huge, but he can't. Pelican's able to shut him down now. It's going to be the 2 tanks for the Seoul Dynasty left to try and make something of it, but there's nothing to be done.
All right, they did get 85% on the first point zone. They do give themselves a win condition for the map. Won't just end up being like a draw scenario, right? At best for Seoul. It's just going to be very tough. I mean, 4 minutes is like an eternity on Hanamura. I actually thought Seoul had a chance to take that first point. I think they just got a little bit ahead of themselves. They started to push a little bit further out. Nobody went back to kind of help creative. They had some players still stuck in the choke. And I think when they let those players linger at the choke and then Prophet is so split from everybody, gets picked off by Masa, that's when things fall apart.
Maybe that hastiness was a symptom of the slim time bank remaining, but it was weird. Everything that Seoul did on that sort of attack looked strange to me, including the ridiculous headshot that Fitz was able to find. Takes more than that to rattle a team like the Atlanta Reign, though, and the Reign are pleased with this situation. They choose this map. They want to force the Dynasty into a position where, you know, they have to play through a choke with something other than a bunker composition. Dynasty, predictably, have some difficulty doing that. Now the Atlanta Reign get to attack. They do need, you know, 85.2% of capture progress here, but they got 4 minutes to make it happen. Matt, on their attack, they looked like they knew exactly what to do. Like they ran Alamo down so early on. Pelican was in there like swimwear. Expect to see the Reign go for something like that again.
Yes, it'll be Seoul now on D. They'll be playing the Hangzhou Spark. I mean, they have to have some kind of answer here for Pelican. I mean, this is why you like when teams play the Torbjorn, right? So the Torbjorn just a constant annoyance to turn to the Tracer. Like Pelican's already in behind enemy lines. You have Iris who's just trying to get in through the window. He gets taken out.
You gotta respect the hustle of Iris. His mechanics are so insane that, you know, like there's days where you can just say, yeah, he wins those duels. He can kill a Hanzo for sure, but it does go a little bit too far, and Fitz has been looking like the centerpiece of the Dynasty's success so far today.
I mean, maybe he thought, Iris, that there was going to be, I mean, Hawk takes out Fitz. That's a baby D.Va from range.
Yep.
Maybe he thought that there was going to be a defense matrix from Hawk as he kind of went through, because you did have Pelican and Gator make it through already, and Hawk was kind of up there. Still, wait, what? They hit us. That is a nutty sleep by Creative. I mean, this is doable for Seoul Dynasty. I mean, with the way this is going, this is definitely doable. Holding on.
You know, stats aside, I kind of like that Johnny brings up maybe the more intangible elements of Prophet as a player, like less interested in what, you know, power rankings or anything like that says, because he's always a factor no matter what hero he's on. He's in a good place to do work here. Gator gets slept darted though. Immortality killed. He'll shelter under those rays for the time being. But Pelican's picked off by Fitz again. This Dragon just makes things worse for the Reign. They're trying to join up a little bit here, but Iris is dangerous, Matt. Anamo's going to be able to bring Creative back into the fight, though. They're missing a main tank, though, the Dynasty, and here come the Reign.
A nano onto the Hangzhou here, as you're going to nano Fitz. He's being shot through an amp matrix there, just kind of eating the damage. He's going to turn around, kill Gator. So this is still doable, even after these pickoffs.
He's got to get Pelican. He's stuck! He's going to be taken down there, and while Creative fares no better, Kai in a safe position there on the Hanzo was able to find 2 quick kills. Prophet trying to save the day is able to find 2 himself. So that is Masa down, but it's just the D.Va. Tugu, I think, tried to push his mech out into the open a little bit more, but that's not going to be enough, and the Atlanta Reign will come up with the answer eventually and even up the series here on their map of choice.
Oh, and one of the biggest kills, and I don't think we saw, but it was Kai actually takes out Prophet. Prophet is actually above them as they're trying to push in, and Atlanta had gotten the early pick. He's actually above, about to just use his rocket barrage. There would be no other reason he's in that position. And Kai just hits a shot on a Prophet and kills him. That's why you don't see him use the barrage until the very end there. That barrage could have definitely changed the game, but Atlanta played very good on their own map pick.
Absolutely. The Hanzo for Kai was absolutely a highlight. Really dangerous in that position. And Pelican, the Tracer, dynamic on attack when he had to play Farah. It also looked fantastic on defense. Very well balanced approach on the Atlanta Reign here. We'll be back on the other side of the break. We'll leave you with some sounds of the game on our way out.
Give us out.
Shit.
Another.
바론 디바원
Oh, fire.
파라 디바원
Nice.
3포인트.
야, 3포인트.
배변. 됐.
나이스. 나이스, 나이스.
나이스.
Shit, 2 more maps. 아이고.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Go to takemetomanoa.org today.
Pirate ship is rocking in through the rough waters of the Countdown Cup tournament. Get this legendary skin before August 30th. 200 league tokens, unfortunately. Reinforcing Custer wearing Hawaiian shirts, not included with your purchase.
Oh man, I love this skin. I tweeted about it, but I love the fact that it's a skin that kind of pays homage towards
homage.
One of the funnier compositions we've had in the Overwatch League, where
every player in gold
pirate ship,
oh, man.
Every player, you've always heard, Junkertown pops up. It's almost like a gentleman's agreement that like you won't play Bastion until the other team plays Bastion on offense.
If they
as
do,
soon as they play Pirate Ship, you're like, hey, you guys want to play Pirate Ship?
It's always like you're playing and the person not in your party that you queue into just picks it and you're like, oh no. Now they're going to pick it. We've opted into this. We can't do anything about it. Anyway, no sightings of Bastion yet, even though he's in the hero pool technically. Numbani is going to be our third map in this series. If you just joined us, Busan was, look, pretty good for Seoul. I think they look very good on the bunker compositions, but Atlanta turned up the heat. Hanamura map really make it hard for the Dynasty to approach on that attacking side. Man. Very costly. Here, though, maybe we see a different feel because this is the kind of map that, lends itself to playing more of that fire and play. Wrecking Ball is definitely an option here for either team, and Atlanta have shown that they can go there.
Yeah, I think this is a map for Seoul. It gives them a ton of different opportunities to play different things, right? You can play, if you wanted to, play some Winston right up on the high ground. You can play the Pharah-based comps. You can play a slower, pick-oriented style with the Hangzhou. Like, I don't know if Seoul is like the best at one specific composition, right? But they're so well-rounded and they have such versatile players that if they give themselves an opportunity and like pick maps where multiple different things can be effective on certain areas of the map and against certain different things, be a little bit more effective, they give themselves a better chance to win, which I think, you know, picking a map like this definitely serves them well.
They definitely strike me as a pretty stable team, but I mean, that's evidenced, by the way, by the fact that they have the lowest rate of first deaths in the entire league. So when they get to play, you know, this bunker style, and they keep it nice and tight and trim, it's pretty hard to break them apart. But the Atlanta Reign, they understand that play style, right? You know, they'd love to play bunker themselves. They love to play that sort of conservative approach with the Baptiste, Torbjorn, McCree, but then they can show us looks like this. This is Farah Mercy with the Baptiste. Normally, we see Ana in these setups, right? But there's an Orisa in play and not a Winston. So the Reign have a bit of a variation on this Farah comp.
Yeah, we'll see as they kind of push towards this high ground. You see the rockets just coming in from the side. They're basically waiting until Pelican can like, hit a rocket, do enough damage, and then take this space. And I mean, look at this.
Oh, man.
Pushed into this corner as you see Gesture just eating rockets.
I love this look. It's great. I mean, the Atlanta Reign have so much at their disposal here. The Immortality Field and the Farah, not many teams can actually bring both of those in the same composition or choose to. God, it looks good for them. Hawk, even a wry smile touches his lips as he knows full well the Dynasty were not ready for that.
And mind you, also, the Pelican has looked great so far. Like, he hasn't missed a beat. And this is a player who's playing from Atlanta,
one
and
lung.
also just had surgery. I mean, really a phenomenal performance thus far. Profit goes to the May again. So, I mean, maybe they think that with the May and the Brig, they can be just very brawly. But the composition from Atlanta doesn't want to be brawly, right? I mean, they're not running the Brig, they're running the Farah, they're running the Hangzhou.
Look at them to back up, like, look at them keep backing up around this corner. They just want to keep getting behind the card. Gator's not going forwards here. And here's the Dragon Strike. Prophet was able to find his way in and get rid of Master there, but the Dragon Strike is problematic for the Dynasty, playing that left side room. Now they choose to go aggressive here. Creative gets out in the open, and the Baptiste is able to bring Pelican down to earth. And Kai needs to respect the proximity here to the core of the Dynasty. Maybe play a little slower as he gets topped up by Masa, and they want to break this Brig Shield down.
Yes, and there's like 4 players still lumped up inside the side room here. For Seoul Dynasty is Bit's now gonna walk out onto the street. So like a big stagger. You're gonna have to, you see where the other players on Seoul are. They're gonna have to wait until the rest of the members come back. It's gonna allow, like, whether it be, you know, Pelican obviously up in the sky, but Kai to control some of the high ground. And they're gonna be walking into a supercharger with nothing.
This is scary. This is a scary moment here for the Dynasty, so they lose a lot of their clock burning potential. Let's rally the supercharger. The Deadeye seems less likely, but again, if Master gets too far out in the open, he won't be able to dump altitude in time. But no, it's Gator from extreme range. Damage boosted plus the supercharger, so there's a lot there to help the Orisa get across the line. Pelican, a safe height there. He flies up so high that it's very clear to see that 2U's coming for him. He has plenty of time to turn his head away. I mean, Prophet is just in an awful matchup playing May against his Farah. Again, the Dynasty's insistence on playing May doesn't really seem to make the difference for them.
Well, it doesn't help Fitz, right? It doesn't help Fitz with being able to kind of take out the Farah in the sky. You also just kind of lack some of the damage that, like, let's say a Hangzhou would bring, right? In terms of shield pressure. Like, the only thing I can think it brings you is the ability to play close with Gesture, get maybe a little bit more aggressive with the walls, try and capitalize on it, but I don't think it's worth, man.
Yeah, but look, if the Reign don't want to brawl, and you know they don't, then they don't have to. They just play back around the corner here. Pelican just sits high above them, and Gator just tracks backwards. He doesn't move forward.
The Reign almost want them to come in.
Yeah.
Like, and just eat all of this damage. Prophet's got a Blizzard, so kind of last-ditch effort here, maybe, with the Blizzard.
Ice block there for Prophet. Oh, in the back line, Kai's able to find Creative, and he's found a second. Oh, and a Dragon Strike to follow things up here. It's gone from bad to worse for the Seoul Dynasty. The damage boost goes a long way, but Kai is far from done. Tuyu has been removed from the field, and that's 3 minutes and 49 on the time bank here on Numbani.
And you never even got the Blizzard. I mean, you played the May for so long, you never even got the Blizzard, so...
Johnny's cursed Prophet. He's cursed him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think the May pick is it. Maybe, you know,
this
Prophet.
He hates
Prophet
leave,
can play.
and he's cursed Prophet. Unreal scenes.
I mean, Prophet's Tracer is great. His Hanzo is very strong. Like, there's not really a reason to really kind of go for the May there, unless they feel like how I mentioned, you know, maybe they think Atlanta can be, you know, aggressive. They can wall off. They can kind of play and like exist like a little bit longer, but they're always going to lose just the damage output between, you know, a Pharah Hanzo compared to like a May McCree. You're not going to win the shield war. Eventually, Atlanta's just going to, like, you're both going to stand in the neutral, and Atlanta's just going to burn you down.
Have a look at this. Kai, very safe position, not being harassed at all by Gesture. What finesse! He gets to you after this as well. Oh! My God, he's coming out the mech as well. That's so hard to do on Hanzo. That is not easy.
If there's one thing everybody knows about Kai as a player, his aim is just unreal. I mean, those shots, he makes that look easy when it is definitely not. I wonder if the Sombra here is a scout, or if they're going to try and play Sombra Pharah, which we have seen teams do. We've seen teams kind of combo the Sombra with Pharah at times. Albeit not with like in a reset. This is almost even more bizarre for me.
Sure,
They'll now play the Pharah Hanzo on. They'll play the Hanzo on D, but on offense, but not on to kind of mirror on the defense, which is quite interesting.
With that aside, it's you got to feel like it's a good choice, right? Very high damage, a lot of pressure on Gator's position. Prophet sets up like this, and it's so hard to answer the Pharah as she safely peeks from this spot. With Masa already down, the Rain, well, they've been given marching orders, Matthew. They've got to try and hold on here, and getting creative is a good start.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason people are playing this. Is you do lose Animo, so we do have a little bit of a Pharah duel up here in the sky on the side. I think he's trying to find the health pack.
He's in trouble.
Work back to his team. Yeah.
Pelican is controlling the health pack, and Prophet is still trying to fight this. A big direct hit. Oh, Creative comes to the rescue. Pelican slams his headset down. Can't believe he was denied a gentleman's duel. Very close stuff there between the Pharahs, but with that Pelican, the Rain are backing it up.
This reminds you a little bit of Hanamura, right? They got control of the fight. This time, though, Prophet doesn't push all the way through. He's able to get 3 with a big barrage.
Unreal positioning there, Matthew. It's so hard for the Rain to do anything about Prophet during the barrage. And of course, he's been pocketed that entire time. Good awareness from Animo to know where to be. Amplification Matrix was also committed there by Creative, and the Dynasty are on the road. It is a monumental mountain to climb, though, knowing how much of a time bank the Rain have. So the Dynasty better hop to it.
They can definitely do it, right? You see teams snowball through the second part of the map. Dragon Strike going to be available for this next fight. You know, you got your Valkyrie. You're going to have, you know, probably both tank ultimates. So it's definitely possible for the Seoul Dynasty to do it. And honestly, if Atlanta takes like this fight further back, it even sets themselves up to make that a good run.
Fitz here just trying to get a bit of information. Ideally doesn't want to let Pelican just drop on top of him. Sonic Arrow out there. Too far away for a good Dragon Strike, I'd say. They'll let it go anyway. Okay, on the Supercharger's position, it makes sense. Obviously, it doesn't damage the Supercharger at all. It's just not a player. In the end, doesn't get too much done. Maybe it makes a bit of space for the res that had to come in on Prophet, but that's all. The Dynasty are just trying to get this cart moving. But to do that, they've got to get around this corner, Matthew.
Atlanta did give up a ton of space. You see Pelican has to be so careful. He knows that if he dies with this barrage, could mean Seoul taking this second point.
Oh God, I love watching Iris. It's such a pleasure. He knows what's going on in that side room. He even gets a bit of early damage that makes it hard for the Dynasty to flank from that position. So Pelican again, wrapping back around, never exposing himself for more than half a second or so.
But the card has continued to move.
but it hasn't made the checkpoint yet. But it might now, Matthew. Prophet drops in, gets Iris. Gator's already down. Oh, and yeah, Master tried to stall that if he could, but it's over for the Reign here. And the Dynasty, listen, it's going to be close. Neither of these teams having a great time trying to play defense on Hanamura. Excuse me, Numbani.
No, and I wonder if it'll spell changes for the Atlanta Reign, compositionally, but at least now they have a ton of ultimates. They hold on to them in that fight to probably try and come back, win this next one at the corner. You lose that though, Seoul is going to set a time that is very close.
Dragon will force the Dynasty off the cart for now. 5 seconds away from the Reign's total. They will not be ahead of them at the end of this round. 2U sent that self-destruct off awfully quickly. Confidence in its positioning. It's going to get the immortality field of Iris, which means it would probably have otherwise have taken someone down, but that is a nasty shot there. Prophet strafes across and sends Pelican careening, and this is looking awful for the Atlanta Reign. Getting rid of Gesture might help them keep them in this one, but look at Prophet from above. Another barrage. It's 2 for Prophet with that one ultimate, and the Ant Matrix doesn't bother him because he flies above its purview.
He just is so good at so many different heroes. It's like that. I mean, look at how he's playing the Pharah, and he's taking the 1v1s against Pelican. Pelican now on the Tracer. Ding. Doesn't look like anyone going to be able to touch the card. So Seoul, pretty good time. Not as good as Atlanta, but I mean, you see the potential of the team. Like, I just don't want to see them play the May. Just keep Prophet on whether it's the Pharah. Put him on Hangzhou if they want. Put him on Tracer. Just throw the May strategy out for now, because he is so good at these other heroes that you see with the pressure it puts on Atlanta. Like, Atlanta couldn't deal with his Pharah play. Pelican would try and take those duels, but Prophet was winning them pretty often.
Part of me wonders if Seoul prepared this main look expecting the Reign to not have Pelican in the lineup today. Maybe the assumption that it's Edison and Kai and there's less Pharah play to expect, and maybe, if you're expecting the Reign to attack with the ground force, then May can really punish that, but it does absolutely nothing against Hangzhou and Pharah. I am pretty shocked that it took this long for the Dynasty to sort of move away from that, but it's not too late. That's the good news for Dynasty and their fans. They're on the attack here, and both, obviously, the lower team in time bank gets reduced to 2 minutes, and the Reign get their time bank shrunk by the same degree. 37 seconds to split these teams up. It's close.
Maybe they did think they weren't going to see Pelican today, but
it's a long shot.
Once he's in the lineup, you know what he's going to do, right? You know what he has played for the Atlanta Reign. And you have you didn't really could have hit on it, but you have these two MVP candidates going head to head, right? As Prophet and Pelican. Now it'll be Prophet up in the sky yet again here on offense to see if he can make the same kind of impact. Did a nice job of putting these rockets down for the side, forcing the Atlanta Reign back.
As a defender, it's probably so hard to know how to really answer this position from Prophet, right? Try and pressure him away. Really, you can't expect to get a clean kill unless your Pharah hits double directs. So how do they keep Prophet quiet, keep him honest, and prevent him from peeking too far around that corner? Kai gets caught up in a duel there with Fitz. He comes off second best, so he'll need to be healed. He'll turn around and pressure that Orisa barrier for now.
Yeah, instead of putting Fitz up on the high ground with the tanks and trying to have him put down pressure, is Iris will take out Prophet, and they get aggressive because they want to block this res. Fitz is actually playing off in the center, trying to get up on the high ground to put shots in from the side, trying to get more of a pick. So they're trying to force more of a pick as opposed to, Prophet putting damage down from the side, Fitz working on the shield up the front with gesture and just kind of bullying Atlanta out.
The Dynasty needs something, and they need it soon. You were correct about getting aggressive to stop that res, Matthew. That's what the Reign did, and they scooped Hanamura up as a kill there. He definitely wanted to bring Prophet back into the fight. Now, the Dynasty go once more. Both teams exchange amplification matrices. We're down to 30 seconds. 1/4 of the time bank remains here for the Seoul Dynasty, and Pelican's made his way into the back line. Big damage, but Prophet's going to trade him out. Created that immortality field, perfectly placed. Still going to be removed as Gesture is brought back into the fight now. Master looks to come forward. Barrage could be dangerous. Prophet from above found 2 in the blink of an eye. Atlanta Reign reduced to 2 players. Master is down, and Prophet makes his 3rd for the fight. And again, you cannot count this man out when push comes to shove. The Dynasty have the numbers. They'll have this point A, and they're on the road, Matt.
And I'm not sure if he was forced off of it, but Masa looked like he was actually going for the res on the Pelican once Pelican used the barrage. And like he got around the corner of the doorway and never got the res off. So you never got the far damage back and fight Prophet with a sick barrage. And then a finish. This is all positive now for Seoul Dynasty. Getting the cart moving through this second part of the map. You win this next fight, you're in a position to even finish this area of the map.
Here comes the Dragon. The Rain still able to benefit from the Supercharger despite that though. Bomb goes out of the picture, so is the Immortality Field, and Prophet gets picked by Hawk. Okay, Self-Destruct's going to yield a kill, and Jester's brought back into the fight where there's hardly any teammates left. Creative is getting focused down by Hawk, who doesn't seem to be getting shot at all with the lack of Dynasty players. And then they converge on Jester's position, remove him from the fight and the equation. See you later, Rain. They get the hold here after conceding one more checkpoint.
Yeah, nice Supercharger. Just makes Seoul wait a little bit at that corner. They set up the self-destruct with the halt and able to just kind of clean house there. So Seoul Dynasty, I think it's still a really good offense. You get the cart moving. You know, you get it around this corner. This corner is a pretty good spot to play defense. We see a lot of teams kind of play there anyway. So even if you lose first point, you still have like opportunities on the defensive end. But still, I thought it was a pretty good offense from Seoul. I'm really interested what they play on D.
Ready for battle.
Winston. Okay, so a Winston composition here on defense with the Sombra Tracer. You know, you love Prophet on Tracer, phenomenal Tracer player, and then fits with these EMPs. This gives them some win conditions, right? You know, you get a fight win or two, you get an EMP. It allows them to contest high ground a little bit.
It means they don't have to play in that upper right position that gets pressured so heavily by Farah, right? Your Ana can play across the way. Your Tracer plays close and Sombra behind them, so harder, I think, for Pelican to do. Pelican has to go further to try and find that pressure that he was getting beforehand, right? You'll have to cross the point to actually get damage on creative. Fit's going to scout the comp out, so they know. They know it's Farah, they know it's the usual look here from the Atlanta Rain. Oh, the aggressive dive! They get the hack on Hangzhou. Kai is down. Gesture, though, might trade his life for this, and he does, but it seems to work out for the Dynasty, and they... Wow, they build ults early here.
Yeah,
See you later.
They had no clue
love that.
It was going to be that aggressive. I mean, who sees teams play that aggressive in this type of composition? Well, really, I mean, I don't think they expected Winston at all. That forces them off of the Farah. So now you're going to play the Torb with the Cowboy here. Is they're going to try and make their way over towards that high ground.
Okay, now the Dynasty probably feel like they can play this position more comfortably. They need to contest the choke. If they give it over to the Rain, well, that's going to be a huge problem for them. Pelican just drops the turret out in the open here. Wants to push forward, but Gator is currently sleeping. He's woken up by what may have been a biotic grenade, but doesn't seem to be affected by it. There and there it is. Kai eventually strikes. Fitz is down. He was the one that was building towards an EMP so quickly, and now that win condition might be off the table. It's a matter here of the Rain picking the Dynasty apart. That's a good sleep dart. That's a bloody good one, but somehow Kai's able to get away. Prophet can't finish the kill. And now with Animo and 2 out of the picture, the Rain will have this checkpoint here. It's 1 minute and 13 seconds, Matt, to end the map.
Right, Fitz is trying to farm the EMP as fast as possible. He knew he was getting very close to it, but just stayed a little bit too long as Kai nails him with a headshot. But in 60 seconds, you got to get around this corner. You're going to have the nano boost available here. You're going to have EMP for a fight win. This isn't, I was going to say it's not 100% done, but you're going to lose Prophet to Pelican. That's brutal.
That's why you bring the Torbjorn. Still, it's all on the table. Hawk is looking for Fitz right now. He hasn't found him yet. Soon enough, though, he'll know where that Sombra is. Gesture gets a nano boost, but it looks like it's defensive just to keep him alive for a little bit longer. It allowed him to build the primal rage, but look at that. He's just instantly blown up. That is disgusting damage at Gesture. Here comes the EMP, though. That cancels the Deadeye, and 2 is able to catch Pelican, who doesn't have the mobility or the abilities to get away from the blast. That is huge. 2 gets a DMAC kill, the Immortality Field goes down, and now the Dynasty can establish, with 10 seconds left of the round, a close hold and a chance to win the map.
And you're going to have Gator go over to the Reinhardt here, as it's going to be Masu who gets a touch with the rally. You have this pulse bomb from Prophet, and he gets taken out by Kai.
The headshot on the Tracer is huge in the rain. Make the right adjustments here. Kai gets a little bit too close to gesture, but there's not enough Dynasty players here to stand up in the rain. Take Numbani away. And that's going to take the wind out of the Dynasty's sails. It's their map pick. They looked pretty darn good until the final moments. It slips away from them.
And building up towards an EMP for Lip. Kai comes through with a headshot. Prophet working on a flank there, an OT, Mappa on the line, and Kai takes him out. Just some tremendous hit scan play from Kai on this map. I think that really pushed Atlanta over the top. His Prophet was on fire on the Pharah.
The question remains, what's left in the map pool here for the Dynasty that can allow them to get an advantage over the Rain? Their map picks so far haven't looked too flash. Huge stuff from the Atlanta Rain. Them set themselves up for a match point and they'll advance in this bracket. If they do, stick around and see how map 4 goes.
마이크 체크 좀 이따 한번 하자. 마이크 체크.
나 제스처 나 투유 똑바로
Broadcast will be doing an end of map comms. They'll be okay with occasional curse words, but would like them to refrain from anything too extreme.
So like I say, oh man.
If it ain't hardcore, keep my name out your mouth. You know what I'm about. You know what I'm about.
Hottie, how you gonna let Fried Wiener outfit you like that? His answer was so much better than yours.
What answer of what?
Vancouver Titans already.
Spark, I'll pay you $5 if you save the London Spitfire ready for takeoff.
Fine, that's me $5.
I would put it for 5.
Yeah, do it.
link to our Twitter at the end.
No, the London Spitfire with it. I was close enough. That's close enough.
No exclamation marks.
I just typed it for free.
Okay, I'll do $3.
Casa, what do you expect?
Voila! Ooh.
No. That's incorrect. I got Paris.
No, you can't
I
change.
mean,
Johnny,
it's
the producers don't lie.
그런데? 왜 한 명도 없어?
미안하다.
아까 하나 있는 거 아니었어?
바꿨는데?
잘못 찍었대. 반복했어.
누가? 인포스.
Cut your hair? Looks different. Looks different.
Okay, city center. Which map is this? Is the car one? The big one.
City center.
That's this map.
If ever you are far away from me, I'm counting down until the day I see your eyes in mine. When you return again, you're everything, a lover and a friend.
I'm confused now. I don't even know what we're doing.
Follow Gator. No, Gator, you know what to do.
I don't know anymore. I'm just confused.
Follow Gator.
Don't follow me. I don't know where I'm going.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Shut up, man.
여기. 맞아. one.
Nice. Shot down.
Let's go.
As promised, sparks are definitely flying in this first match of our Overwatch League Countdown Cup. However, for the Dynasty, they're on the receiving end of them. Not a good way. Tough third map for them there in Numbani, as it could have gone either way. The Dynasty switched to a Tracer Sombra composition. They finally get rid of this May look, Matthew, but it just wasn't enough. The Rangers had the grit to go the extra inch.
I mean, this series has been so close thus far. I mean, even the 2-0 on the first map on Busan, Atlanta had they had 94 on the first point, and I believe they were getting up there on the second one, or at least had some control for a period of time. So we definitely had a back and forth one, but there were just one or two plays deciding each map. But that last one on Numbani, yeah, I mean, Seoul definitely had an opportunity. I really think Kai just came up clutch with some shots. I mean, some big shots, especially on the Fitz and Profit. There'll be another Seoul Dynasty pick. They will go to Route 66, where we've actually seen teams, some teams end up playing the Reinhardt compositions here. This is, you can play the ball, but not a lot of great spots for ball. So this, I think, is going to be some more Orisa-centric gameplay.
Obviously, the last phase of the map, we've seen some teams even switch to the Reinhardt, right? Just so they don't have to.
Yeah.
They can play it like a corner. They can play brawl on that L shape at the start of this area.
Which Atlanta does it at the start. I mean, they'll even do it at the start. Yeah.
A lot of Hangzhou we've seen on this map before, especially in the western region. Okay, so the ball. All right, so we've seen this look a little bit from Seoul on maps like this as well. It's really about extra bit of resource digestion, but don't forget that this was the Tracer, the Sombra Zarya look that set Fitz up to get the easiest EMP of his life. Sat in the middle of a bunch of Atlanta Reign players. So we'll see what Jesse can get done now with an extra layer. I'd like to think of support. It's Mercy and the Zenyatta here, so we'll see how this all plays together. I mean, think about the Mercy here. I think is an interesting choice. Without the Farah, it'd be the Prophet getting pocketed.
Yeah, it's you're gonna have obviously the pocket for Profit. I also think it's really kind of a pocket for creative on the Zen, especially if Atlanta came out, let's say, with a ball comp and tries to pressure up onto the high ground. But in Atlanta, they will play the Reinhardt. So, like I mentioned, there's a lot of opportunities to play Reinhardt here. They'll basically try and bait the dive in, bait gesture in. Can you get a bash on him? Hanzo damage? Is that enough to finish him off?
Kai with the furrowed brow, like he's just seen something rather odious. Perhaps he disapproves of this composition from the Seoul Dynasty. But it'll be up to him to disprove it.
Gesture
swings on
so
through.
safe. I mean,
No
he's being so
commitment
safe.
here.
He has to be.
Yeah.
See that which is unseen.
Can't really go for it unless someone on the Dynasty sort of sets it up, finds big damage on a single target, means that Gesture can just sweep in and get a kill, but no opportunity like that has materialized, and now the Reign just sort of get the powerful positioning and the cart push.
Yeah, I mean, they flipped sides of the map,
man.
and in doing this, they have
You can't be
split
doing that.
so. I mean, they have split them so far. I mean, I understand. Okay, so I understand the need to like play pretty safe if you're Seoul. Atlanta is not just going to let you farm up the EMP and just not move the card or take some type of position, which is like what it looked like they were trying to do. They had an opportunity to attack there. Like you mentioned, like damage from the side. Prophet will take out Kai. Prophet put down a ton of damage. You had a few players really low. It was Gator who was hit with a Discord and then some shots from the Hangzhou. And when Gesture rolled in, maybe he was going to go for the pile driver, but he got stunned out of it. No damage came through, and they were able to heal it all up and keep moving.
Fitz is able to get 2U charge, by the way, when he otherwise just wouldn't be able to get anything. Fitz just appears in front of the Reign, gets a bubble, and dances there for a bit, then translocates out. Masa not able to shield bash him after the shield. That's the EMP. They're only on the Gator, so they need to collapse on this Reinhardt. The Dynasty do that. Gator is down. Is that enough to be going on with? Because 2U does not have a lot of charge. He's really not a DPS threat in this form, and Creator's getting pressured down. A friendly bubble used, and 2U gets all of 4 charge from it. He's really just tickling at the moment.
And that'll be a Transcendence because the Dragon comes out, and I think Creative was low, and he was going to be like within the line of sight of it. So Transcendence doesn't get anything.
I mean, Fitz ruined there. We see Kai getting caught inside the Graviton Surge there, but it's only the one kill that the Dynasty were able to get from it. It's starting to look like the gulf between these two teams is widening here on 66.
Yeah, as they're going to lose to you late, you still have Gesture alive. He's probably going to come from like the backside of this fight and go for a minefield. Just trying to be a little sneaky. They definitely know that he's still around. Hawk, that constant shooting, trying to check.
What a shield bash.
Fits.
Gesture's able to just get there in time. He got knocked back with the whip shot as well, though, and just, I mean, the minefield just seems so awkward there. No one's going to walk into that, and the Atlanta Reign have got the Dynasty's number. And that number seems to be constantly less than 6, Matthew.
Right, and if you're Seoul, like you need to make a change here. Like this clearly is not the comp to get things done. Like, do you play like an Orisa with a Hangzhou, and you know maybe you try and bring in some more damage, right?
Right.
And kind of have a larger shield. You don't have to play as close to the Reinhardt. Like, there's a few different things you could do. I mean, you could even try and play Winston if you wanted.
Yeah, what if you don't change anything at all, though? How about that? How about just do the same thing?
I think you're going to end up with some similar results. You know.
Gator giving the car a little bit of a shove.
I do the same non-existent workout every day. I have the same results.
Yeah, at least
things
your
don't magically
match.
Things don't magically change, you know.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Once Orange Theory opens back up, may I expect to hear about it? Pelican with a bomb.
I ain't going back to the gym.
You already got married. Yeah, you're done with it. Oh dear. Gator. Okay, he's able to just to get away. The Dynasty were nipping at his heels, and that's the EMP now. Catches 2. Gator got the shatter away, and Iris crucially was able to deploy the Immortality Field, so there's nothing here for the Dynasty except the Dragon coming at them at a rate of knots. The right-hand side of the map is now cut off to the Seoul Dynasty, and Anamo is lingering tantalizingly out in the open. Kaido thinks better of it, instead forced Creative back into spawn and catches Prophet with one of those Storm Arrows. The Atlanta Reign are better right now, and it's clear to see.
Well, now they made switches, so they bring in a McCree now.
Oh, nice.
It's a little late, but
we'll see you next round.
3 minutes, man. I mean, I actually think Seoul Dynasty has played a really, really good match here against the Atlanta Reign. I actually think the only thing that's kind of, I think in the way these teams are playing composition versus composition, the gulf between them looks, you know, quite large at times, right? Maybe favoring Atlanta. I do kind of think, though, like, if Seoul were to be faster on adjustments and make these changes and swaps, I think these teams are really evenly matched. I think what's really kind of hurt Seoul today is the ability to make like the mid-game adjustments and to recognize like, hey, this is not working. We need to change ASAP, not kind of like, well, we'll change in a fight or two, or down the line, because it clearly didn't work.
This is a tough position for the Dynasty to be in here. The last thing they want to be doing in the Countdown Cup tournament is to be starting in that lower bracket. That seems to be the way they're headed right now. Don't even think about showing me that, May. Don't even think about it. Fitz's Hangzhou obviously has been really powerful throughout the course of this series. Sadly, we've not been able to see as much of his McCree as Kai's been able to just play Hangzhou from range and make that a pretty bad pick. Iris, incredible on the Baptiste across the entirety of the match, but it's really been Kai's Hangzhou map for me. Absolute standout for the Atlanta Reign. They will play close, they will play spawn camp with the Reinhardt composition.
Stop the payload.
So here's what's kind of funny. I actually don't really hate the Mei versus the Reinhardt stuff.
Enemy turret.
Like, this allows you to, get in the Reinhardt space and maybe make it punishing, right? Block some healing, from the Baptiste. Able to kind of freeze him up, everybody focusing down with a Hangzhou. Are they able to do it, though? I think that's the bigger question.
Kai, very safely positioned here, but not getting great sight lines on the Dynasty. Oh, until now. Fitz, I don't think he knew where that damage was even coming from. What a gigantic pickoff now. Does that mean the Sonic Arrow's off the table? So the Dynasty can't read Atlanta's movements nearly as much. Creative just sends it across the map, and Pelican comes off second best. But here comes the amplification matrices from both teams here.
Yeah, so you're just going to have both teams just going to wait this out as maybe not gated with an amped fire strike right in a Creative's grill.
Gesture. I mean, Gesture lucky to get away there. Dragon Strike is going to sort of split Kai up for the rest of his team, but Hawk just goes over the top and makes sure that he's safe. Shepherds him back into formation behind this Reinhardt. Kai can still play around this wall here. He'll have to respect Fitz, but he doesn't need to duel the Hangzhou right now. Find a cheeky off angle or two. Prophet's gone down to Iris, who's found 2 kills in this fight. The Baptiste is absolutely gnarly. And the remnants of the Reign push forward again. That had to be a cringe from 2U because the Dynasty have already lost 90 seconds. And they have a 3-minute time bank to contend with at the end of the map.
Yes, you're going to have another amp matrix here for the Atlanta Reign. So, all right, you have 2 players split off. This is the benefit of the Mei here.
That was the best look of the Mei the whole series, Matt. The best look.
Yeah, that's true. Good front hold, though, from the Atlanta Reign. You bank up a ton of ultimates coming into this next fight. And you already have this massive time bank. I mean, this is such a great spot to be in. So, Seoul, they push up. They take this high ground. The right decision. You can get a halt maybe with this Dragon Strike and get another fight and have a chance of just kind of escorting the payload to the second checkpoint.
I mean, it was a great immortality field there. Kai stays alive as a result. Iris not nearly as lucky. That could have been a lot worse if that MO wasn't pretty spot on. Pelican, painting it red, literally. Gesture, no way he was going to be able to escape. He was surrounded by a moat of molten lead. And now Pelican controls this high ground. The Atlanta Reign are still in a powerful spot.
4 ultimates used there for the Seoul Dynasty, and they really get no payload, extra payload progress out of it. Creative has to use the Transcendence when the self-destruct comes down, and then Gator is able to land a Shatter. That is a really nice
Tekker's
turret spot, yeah.
Because it catches the Tracer as they try and run around behind if there was one, or like a Wrecking Ball. It's so much good early warning. It's just a cheeky little spot there. This is bad for the Dynasty, man. It is real bad. Under a minute left in the round. Creative trying to keep Kai honest, but he's constantly being healed up. Masa has one of the highest uptimes of Inspire in the entire league, but that won't save Pelican from the bomb that 2U sends over the top. The Reign looking a little bit haggard right now as Spitz connects with Iris after removing the immortality field. It's sheer willpower that keeps the Dynasty going right now, and not a moment too soon. 30 seconds remain in the round.
And will you try and contest here if you're the Atlanta Reign? Like, do you want to try and close the door here, or are you willing to play the long game? It's going to be a Tracer swap for Pelican, Hangzhou for Kai. Looks like everybody's coming back. Looks like you're going to see Pelican maybe get a touch. You have an Ant Matrix here from the side for Hyatt. This could get really dangerous for Seoul, and you're not going to see that Ant Matrix go down. Beautiful Dragon.
Hawk frozen on the high ground here, not great for the Atlanta Reign. The Dragon Strike puts them in an unwinnable situation by the looks of things, and they will get that first checkpoint. And they'll get that time extension. Bear in mind, they're still a long way behind the Atlanta Reign, but it's unlikely they're thinking about that right now. The only objective in their mind is to finish the map.
Fuck. This is so Atlanta will now play Pelican on the map. Now, so you know, in a May versus May kind of battle here, the Atlanta Reign have a huge advantage in terms of being able to like brawl up close, right? With a May and a Brig of their own, and the Reinhardt.
Blizzard thrown down there. Gator going to use his shield like more of a parasol as he avoids the shots coming vertically down, and Hanamura is actually going to be the first one caught here. Transcendence. The Dynasty have to keep going with 5. They're committed now. They've used ultimates. Surely they're going to make something of it. Another shield placed down by Gesture. The self-destruct over the top. It's going to catch Iris. That could be huge here. It's immediately traded back, though, by Hawk. And now inside the tavern, there's a bit of argy-bargy going on, but Gator's being kept alive. Supercharger is in play, and the Dynasty is scary. The Shatter comes through and connects with Fitz. Immortality Field going to be used immediately to try and keep the Bowman in the fight, and it works out. The Dynasty keep Fitz alive and hope that he'll pay it forward, because they're going to need it. A minute 10 on the clock.
I mean, perfectly timed rally there for Masa. Try and keep Gator alive, as this will be a Dragon towards the gas station. So you still have a few players here alive for the Atlanta Reign. Can they get out with their life? It looks like you're going to have Hawk still be able to live. I mean, look how much pressure he's able to put on just coward his life. He just knows how long that booster lasts.
He's the only reason Fitz can't stand out in the open and just storm arrow at point blank and kill all of the Reign there. Iris is down though. Again, another pick. He's just come back into the fight.
It's like 3 or 4 fights in a row.
Oh my god! That is absolutely filth from Creative across the map. Charging up those right clicks here. The kind of player to go under the radar, but today he shines bright. Tuyu loses his mech there to a wayward charge from Gator, and there's a Blizzard in play here from Pelican that doesn't seem to bother the Dynasty. 17 seconds now left, and Creative finds yet another kill. The guy is a force to be reckoned with, but it's an ice block from Pelican after he finds a Zen kill. He's going to commit and just stall the card.
And I think Pelican probably dropped the Blizzard thinking that Gator was going to live, and you would have had Gator, Pelican, and Masa there trying to kill some players within the Blizzard, but does not happen. Said Atlanta will have an opportunity to touch.
The Reign moving up here. Wall thrown up is going to make it harder to touch. It'll have to be Hawk. We'll get the overtime secured. But there's going to be a Blizzard in play, and the Reign need to be careful. It gets thrown down now in the perfect spot. It's going to make a lot of space, but Kai's Dragon also comes through where the card is standing. Transcendence now comes in as Creative, tries to use it to let his team play more aggressively, but Fitz can't pick himself up off the ground. He's down to Pelican. Masa is traded out there, but Gator, he finds the strike of his life. And that's going to be it. The Atlanta Reign hold off the Seoul Dynasty. They'll win the first match of the Countdown Cup tournament and advance to the upper bracket.
It's a big win there for the Atlanta Reign. Obviously, in terms of their standings within the Western region, compared to the Gladiators, puts a lot of pressure on the Gladiators in the next match coming up. And I thought you saw, Atlanta being tested a little bit more than we've seen in the last few weeks, having to play a lot of different compositions to try and get this one done.
A real statement victory, though, from the Atlanta Reign. They set the 5th fastest attacking round on Route 66 of all time. And it's no surprise that it's very difficult for the Seoul Dynasty to bounce back from that kind of deficit. Listen, before we jumped into the game here, I think the desk highlighted it pretty well, is that the Atlanta Reign would want to play slow. It would be a style that the Dynasty would struggle to deal with. They'd have to deal with the fact that the Reign just want them to start the fight against them. And it did play out that way, right? The fire play, of course, from Pelican was excellent. It's just astonishing to me that he's able to come out of a surgery, being very unwell in hospital, play on ping, and look as good as he does. I've got to say, like, the front line again, really dominant stuff. Iris gets to play that Baptiste. It really feels like his comfort pick right now. He may be one of the very best in the league when it comes to that hero, the impact he can have. He's pitted up against a dynamic flex support player in Creative, but even looks better there. A player of the match, though, here, I've got to say, Matthew, is someone we haven't mentioned yet, but definitely needs to be brought up. Kai has an incredible series. That Hangzhou play was sublime.
Really, he's a huge impact in this series. And whether it was the Hangzhou, whether he played the McCree, being asked to do a lot of different things for this team. In a series where obviously Pelican playing on ping, Profit playing pretty well for Seoul Dynasty, Fitz kind of clicking. I thought when the Atlanta Reign needed it, Kai was coming up with the big plays constantly.
One of my favorite moments there was that shot. But again, look, he's got a lot of space to work with here. The Dynasty, especially playing this Zarya Wrecking Ball composition, where on the back foot entirely, it doesn't work. That's a composition that we've seen a lot of in the Eastern region. A lot of teams have tried to play this style. The Reign, despite seeing less of it in the West, were completely ready for it. I mean, these Hangzhou stats speak for themselves. I feel like he's above that 10 final blow per 10 minutes situation. And the critical hit accuracy is really impressive. It's actually one of his best stats on the McCree as well, is his critical hit kills. I think he's top 3 in the whole league on that stat. This guy is an aimbot.
Oh, he is, his accuracy is nutty. And I think when you're in a meta where he can play things like Hangzhou, like McCree, I know Ash not in this hero pool, but things like the Ash, you really see him shine as a player. Where coming into the season, a lot of people thought he was just like the third DPS on this team, that you would see Edison and Pelican most of the time, but Kai's become a mainstay.
Yeah, no doubt, and I have to think that many of his countrymen will be very proud. There's not a lot of representation for, people from the United Kingdom here in the Overwatch League. He really is carrying the torch for them, and is just an incredible player in his own right as an individual. So we're looking forward to hearing from him on the other side of this break as the Atlanta Reign advance to the upper bracket. The Dynasty will fall into the lower bracket, but still have a chance to make the run. Stick around. We're going to hear from Kai, and then we're going to get on with the second match of the night.
D.Va me.
D.Va.
One second. Rest.
Last two.
Nice job, guys.
Yes. Nice job.
Welcome to Game Break, everybody. We're joined now by Kai from Atlanta Reign. Kai, congratulations on the win, and congratulations for getting picked as the player of the match. Good job, Kai, and you are godly Hanzo. Why are you so good? That's my first question. Why are you so good on Hanzo?
It's RNG, man. It's RNG. I just got lucky today.
You just got lucky today? I don't know. I don't think that was luck. You just make everything looks so easy. So big congrats on getting the player of the match and of course the win as well. Now, after losing the first control map in your match today, you guys came back strong and really dominated. What did you guys talk about after losing map 1, and what kind of adjustments did you guys have to make?
I don't think we changed much. I feel like we just played bad on that map, and I feel like we changed our aggression up a lot more. I feel we just played like we usually do. I feel like the first map was just a bit nervous. Obviously, it's an APAC team, so they play different compared to NA teams. So yeah, that was about it.
How you just mentioned that they play differently compared to NA teams. How are they different compared to the
I feel like in the Orisa comps, they play way more slow compared to NA teams, and it catches you off guard a bit. They definitely take their time with it.
Okay, and those were, you guys were sort of trying to see what the APAC or Seoul Dynasty were trying to do, and you guys were making those adjustments accordingly. All right, my second question sort of ties into that. This is Atlanta Reign's 3rd time in Hawaii, and on the other side, this is Seoul's first ever tournament playoffs in the season. Do you think having that experience of just being in a tournament playoff aided you, helped you in any way to get the win today?
I don't think so. I feel like we're just the better team, honestly. Unsold is veteran players, so it's they've been in that situation before, and I feel like we're just the better team.
Okay, simple enough. My last question for you, Kai, is you guys will be playing either LA Gladiators or the Chengdu Hunters tomorrow for the semifinals. Who do you think is going to win and become your opponent, and why?
I feel like Glads, Kev's is just going to carry with his pulse bombs and stuff. It's definitely going to be a good match. Kevster versus Leave's a good player as well. But I have to root for my NA teams, so definitely Glads.
Definitely Glads. All right. Thank you so much, Kai. That is it for the interview. And again, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's head back to the desk.
Do that indeed. Thank you so much, Danny. Thanks a bunch, Kai, and of course a huge congratulations to the Atlanta Reign, who now moved on and await their next opponent. What a great match that was, though. That was actually at the beginning, it was just so close, and yeah, Atlanta Reign, they did walk away with it in the very end, but this is also just the second time these two teams faced off against one another overall. Back in 2019, it was actually Seoul taking a W, I believe it was 4-0 or 3-0, so yeah, that was a one-sided affair. Today, much closer, at least at the start, but then it was really just a battle of DPS players, wasn't it? It just looked like Seoul Dynasty in the very end, they couldn't deal with not just Kai on that Hanzo, but in general with the composition that Atlanta Reign was playing Reinforced.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, this is what me and Costa talked about going into this matchup as well, is that Seoul Dynasty, they play the game very slowly, and Atlanta Reign, they favored Orisa, Reiner compositions pretty much the entire season. So when you have these very slow scenarios with both teams taking their time, it's going to be in the hands of the damage players on the respective teams. We saw Pelican and Prophet have some far duels, Kai and Fitz battling on the Hanzos and the McCrees, and it was amazing to watch because generally the games are so fast these days. For example, the Dallas Fuel, when they put faith into Fearless on that Winston going deep, he's going to step up the tempo, and the damage players just follow up on that damage. In this matchup, it was all about Kai on that Hanzo, as I mentioned. He was phenomenal on that Hanzo. Pelican being able to play this far as well. And Seoul Dynasty, they had some pop-off performances from themselves. I mean, Fitz on that McCree to kick the series off in Busan, that's ridiculous stuff, and that's why we regard the Seoul Dynasty so highly. But at the end of the day, the reason why I predicted the Atlanta Reign anyway was because I think man for man and as a team, they are better when it comes to playing these slower games. If I'm the Seoul Dynasty and I'm taking it slow, I'm going to have a hard time beating Iris and Masa in the back line. Gator and Hawk, they're a fantastic tank duo when it comes to managing cooldowns and shields in the front line as well. It was just too much to handle for the Seoul Dynasty. I think they have very good players on their team, and I have mad respect for the team as well. I think they're a very dangerous opponent. But in this specific matchup, I think it just favored Atlanta Reign's playstyle, and their damage players really turned up, especially Kai today.
Yeah, I mean, you heard it from Kai there too, right?
I do want to add as well, because the end, yeah. I do want to ask about, like, the Seoul Dynasty, why they didn't stick with the compositions that worked so well in the first map. On Busan, I think they did a great job when they played the shield versus shield. They actually got the edge over the Atlanta Reign. Surprised they just didn't decide to slow the game down when it started slipping away from them, especially when they did. They started playing a May, which didn't really make sense to me. So some questionable decisions from the composition from Seoul Dynasty, I think, as well.
Nonetheless, though, big shout out to Fitz and Prophet. Both had like phenomenal pop-off moments. Honestly, if you haven't watched the entirety of the match, just go back and rewatch the entirety of that DPS battle, which was just going down. Okay, and that one was just so much fun to watch. And I very much hope that this is just kind of setting the tone for the rest of the day, because we do have a second match coming up, and that's going to be Chengdu Hunters going up against the Gladiators. Now, Kai just said in the post-game interview with Danny that he thinks that's going to be a Gladiators, not a problem. However, the entirety of the desk did think that it is actually going to be the Chengdu Hunters walking away with this one. Costa, defend our pick here. Why is it the Chengdu Hunters?
I want to hope that it's a little bit of West bias coming from Kai, but